Hi, it's Meryl Keith, and this is my mystery school. Here's your Astrology Dice horoscopes for March 2024. If you're after some more in-depth astrology information, check out my What is Happening and Why videos put out each month. And if you'd like to help my channel, you can support me with a like, a subscribe, a comment, or a share. Thanks. We'll start with a bit of an astro overview and then we'll move into horoscopes for each individual sign. We've got a new moon on March the 10th at 20 degrees Pisces. The full moon is in Libra on March 25th. The sun is in Pisces. It moves to Aries on March 20th. Mercury's in Pisces. On the 10th it moves into Aries. Venus is in Aquarius, moving into Pisces on the 11th. Mars is in Aquarius, moving into Pisces on March 23. Jupiter's in Taurus, Saturn's in Pisces, Uranus is in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto's in Aquarius, Chiron's in Aries, the North Node is in Aries, and the South Node is in Libra. The aspect of the month to watch for, well, there's a couple of loose cannons, but overall, Jupiter and Saturn are working in harmony and they really will give a lucky break, a restructure that benefits you as long as you put in some effort. There's a cosmic touch this month of you reap what you sow. But for now, we'll kick into some horoscopes for each individual sign. Starting off with Aries. Aries, you might be feeling a bit vulnerable and exposed at the moment, or you might be really ready to step out of warrior mode and lay down your armor and get some much needed relaxation. Mercury moves into your sign with that Pisces new moon, and some of you will be wanting to speak about a sensitive issue, especially in that third week of March. How can the dice help you get that off your chest? You have Mars, Pisces, and the 4th house. Aries, this pulls you down into the space of home and family, into where you feel you want to belong, to put up safe walls around you. And this is talking about that much needed rest and relaxation, putting down your armor and letting yourself soften a bit. Mars is the action planet, and it's also your ruling planet. We've got a little bit of a hint because Mars is moving into Pisces. So what I'd suggest with this is that timing is somewhere around that third week of March. Mars wants you to take action, but in Pisces, the action is more a way of dissolving rather than confronting head on. You're really wishing something would go away or be swept under the carpet, but there's opportunities in March to bring it up. Because of the astrology for you, Aries, we know there's something you really need to get off your chest. And this is suggesting you need to do that in some way to protect your home or your family, to protect the place where you need to land, to have that emotional safety and security around you. 4th house deals with family and family members, and in Pisces, the boundaries can get really loose. There's a problem with confusion or vagueness or even addiction. And Mars is ready to put some limits on that. With this dice, I really encourage you to take that step and speak up about that sensitive issue that's been bubbling under your skin. You want to feel understood, and you want to connect and communicate on a softer, less combative level. Taurus. Taurus, the month gets off to a bit of a rocky start with you, and Jupiter and Mars are clashing, so that makes something bigger and louder than it needs to be. Or it might end up abruptly flipping the table. You're in the place where you're going to be provoked, but Saturn is watching out for you, Taurus, and any carry on by anyone else is going to be noted. What can the dice say? You have Cancer, 7th house, and the moon. Okay, Taurus, this is looking at your relationships. 7th house is the place of relationships and how you relate to others. In Cancer and with the moon, who are linked, it's about bringing in close the ones you love. Cancer in the 7th can put relationships into a caretaker mode. It can turn you into a mum instead of a lover. Or that you need a deeper emotional connection. You need to revitalise and renew the enthusiasm in your relationships. The moon in Cancer is very stable. It stabilises the emotions. It gives you emotional strength. And it closes in around those it loves to protect them. Some Taurus are going to have to take the lead and step up a few responsibilities this month. But consider how you want to balance that with your own need for a bit of me time and a bit of stepping out of all the pressure. In particular, it's the relationships with women, with your mother, with your children, or where your partner's turned into a little bit of a sook. You'll have to take the lead on relationships this month. And if you're finding your boundaries have got a bit out or you're giving too much one way and it's not coming back, pull yourself out and take some time out to rejuvenate and revitalise. There's a lot of water element action going on in March. And some of you, if you feel like getting in the water, going to the beach, having long showers, going to a spa, do it, because you're balancing out the equilibrium. You're cleaning out negative emotions and also revitalising enthusiasm in your relationships. Looking for that sweet spot where you can really share. Gems, the Pisces new moon can muddle your direction and have all the feels come out in a huff. You're being pulled in a few directions, especially on the home front with family, and you're antsy about where you want to be. Also getting a bit sentimental, a bit unsure of yourself. So how can the dice point you in the right direction? You have Mars, 12th house, and Virgo. Well, the 12th house is a bit hard to find the right direction because it wants you to go inward. It wants you to find a spiritual, intangible, safe place to rediscover what you need. So it's kind of removed from the everyday life and the everyday reality. I feel like with this dice, part of you completely wants to disappear, to go back to places of your imagination, places that come up from your subconscious, but there's a bit of mind organisation before you can fully connect with where your vision takes you. So the idea here, Gemini, would be step out, do some meditating, get into nature, get some big wide space about you and look up. You're working so hard to make all the little things fit, and some things are still unknown to you. You're going to have faith. If you're not sure of your direction at the moment, this is saying step out of that minutia, step out of doing your head in, and trust and have faith that the big picture will open out when you've stopped worrying about it. Cancer, there is plenty of water sign activity this month to keep you in your element. But relationships are a bit hot and cold, and there's some conversations and challenges that might upset the easy flow. So let's see how the dice can help you. You have Leo. The 5th house, that's fun. And Mars. Excellent. This really is a lot of fun. So Leo is the ruler of the 5th house, and the 5th house is called the house of fun. It's about romance, creativity, expressing yourself, finding your unique voice. Now you've got Mars there, so it's pushing you to really act, pushing you to get yourself out, to assert yourself and express yourself in a very Leo-like way, which is full of performance, it's fun, it's social, it's extrovert, and it's super creative. You could be starting a new project, you could be actively involved in a creative group, or you could be on a roll with a new romance, really attracting a lot of attention, having a heap of fun around the electricity it generates. It could be a creative partnership that you've got, and maybe there's a little bit of competition going on. But it inspires you. It spurs you on. I see a lot of enthusiasm with this for you. I see you being a bit bolshy and putting yourself out. And if relationships have been running hot and cold, there's enough self-confidence here to rise above it, to get into your own thing, to get into your own friends and your own social life without needing your partner to always lead the way. For Cancerians with children, this could be where there's a real proud mama moment. Maybe there's a milestone that one of your kids is going through. It's also a bit teenage energy, and it's got that youthful kind of exuberance. It's fun, it's assertive, it's sexy time, and it brings out big, bold personalities, including your own. Leo, you start off the month with a bit of a clang. There's a conflict, a roadblock, or a sudden change of heart. But if you let things roll, you'll find the best outcomes will work themselves out over the month. So what can the dice say? How can you let things roll so they reach a natural conclusion rather than you pushing it? You have Jupiter, Gemini, and the 8th house. My first thought when I see this, Leo, is there's a conversation or a train of thought that you need to put to rest. Something's got way bigger than it needs to. Jupiter expands what it touches, and with Gemini, it makes conversations go long and on and never ending. It brings up issues of your mind going around and around in circles. It can also bring up issues with children, with the way you learn, with the way you express, with the kind of language that's used. One thing we want to know is that Jupiter in the 8th house can be really lucky. The 8th house deals with finality, but part of that finality is things like inheritance and other people's money. So when Jupiter's in the 8th house, it can bring you a gift of an inheritance. This inheritance may come through a sibling. It may come through something you've studied and learned and now it's come to fruition. This is great for giving up an obsession. It's great for giving up old habits, and it's also good for seeing where sometimes you go a bit over the top. And inwardly, you're ready to really face that and deal with it and get yourself grounded. If there is something that you feel has reached the end of the line, that you've had enough conversations about it, you've thought about it enough, Jupiter is really giving you the encouragement that you can let it go gladly. Virgo. Lots of Virgos have been making adjustments in relationships. The good news is Juno's husband Jupiter has got on board, and in March you might be having more romance, more pleasure and more fun in relationships instead of feeling like you're doing all the hard work. Does the dice agree? You have Gemini, North Node, 10th house. Fantastic. Okay, Virgo. This is about how you want to be seen and making those big picture plans so you're moving in the right direction. Gemini in the 10th house puts you in a place where your writing, your language, your teaching, the way you communicate your ideas is in a very top position. It's being seen and recognised. You're being seen and recognised for that work. The North Node just amplifies that position. So if any of you Virgos are doing something like presenting, keynote speaking, this is a bit of a turning point time for you. You might have reached a culmination or an achievement in what you're learning or studying, or with how you're seen at your job. Gemini can also split things in two. So some Virgos might find that their work life is split in two places, that they're job sharing, that they're working from two different areas. There might be a key meeting or a restructure that's going on that's going to affect your work and your career. But with the North Node there, There's some undercurrent of destiny that's pushing you beyond this place. It's asking you to take this information and leapfrog it into the future. It's putting you at the top of the mountain with a microphone in your hand. Whether you're feeling restless with this or a little bit apprehensive, the North Node has kind of put the activation point on, and it's amplifying your messaging further, broader, more into the future. Libra. Libra, you have the full moon in your sign on the 25th, and many of you are feeling like you've reached a turning point. You've been weighing something up, and second half of this month, you get to clear the air, make a decision or take action. Your rule of Venus is moving into Pisces around that same time, and it's softening the mood. But are you going to swing back on your decision, or are you going to have faith and move on? What can the dice say? You have Virgo. Oops. The 7th house. And Pluto. Okay. Libra. This is a bit tense, really. Pluto is a big planet and it puts a really heavy intensity on everything. 7th house is your home turf, the place of relationships. And Virgo is very analytical. It likes to get to the solution, it likes order, it wants to see the pattern and the system. So there's something going on here about you understanding the patterns of relationships. There's some distance that you've got with some key relationship that's helping you get a better understanding, distancing from your emotions a little bit and getting it down to a balance of what is practical, what serves you, where you've been the one serving, and what you want to do to get that right balance. Pluto here wants to shut the door on something. It's calling up the kind of obsessions and psychology that motivates and drives the way you choose relationships. They say Librans are in love with love, but this says much more about use your head, use your past experience. If you found yourself in an obsessive relationship, March is the time you get a real inkling on how to step it out, break it down, and find a solution. You might have someone in your field who's a bit judgy and who's a bit of a power player. In this case, Libra, you get to clear the air, and there's a finality with this. There's something you're not going back to because it does your head in. I wish you luck, Libra. Scorpio, you really benefit from the support of Jupiter and Saturn this month, working in harmony to get the groundwork right and getting you to a point where you can start to grow. There are still battles you need to face and effort you have to put in this month, but you're getting more strategic and smarter about it, and that's a good thing. How can the dice help? You have Uranus, Leo, and the 8th house. Scorpio, this looks like big change has kind of come up from nowhere, rocked your foundations a little bit, and in one hand, it's not only a relief to let something go, the upheaval has opened up whole new possibilities for you. Uranus is a planet of revolution, of splitting off, of breaking free, of letting a brilliant solution land on you, just downloading it. In the 8th house, it's getting really down to the core of who you think you are. The 8th house deals with the big stuff of life. You're kind of questioning who you are, why you're here, have you got enough time to do everything on your bucket list? And for some Scorpios, you may have been through quite a big upheaval recently that's starting off a really big new cycle, whole new territory for you, a different stage of life. So this dice is saying there's a fundamental shift in your foundations. Leo here puts the optimism on it. It puts the can-do attitude. It puts some brightness and confidence. So I'm looking at this and thinking, whatever big shake-up you've had, you're feeling pretty good and confident about where you're moving with it. In some way, you're breaking out of a bit of a shell and letting more of yourself be seen. Even putting on a bit of a performance to fake it till you make it. Whatever split or upheaval you had, I feel you coming out shining in March. Sagittarius. Saggies, you might find your feelings are a bit at sea this month. You're into it 1 minute and restless the next. Around that new moon in Pisces, which is on March the 10th, you're ready to make an adjustment and take the pressure off. But I'm not sure you're comfortable to slow with the flow. What can the dice say? You have Scorpio, Neptune, oops, and the 12th house. Oh, that's nice and mysterious. And these dice are really saying slow with the flow. This is a combination that helps you retreat. You can retreat into fantasy, into imagination, into a beautiful place in nature, something by the sea. Both of these are very much about the sea or the oceans. Neptune is the ruler of the 12th house, and Scorpio in that position wants to get right down to the nitty-gritty of your deep heart, your soulfulness. There's a part of you that might have a dark little secret. I would suggest, Sag, that there's a whole kind of planetary conspiracy to make you slow down and check in with what you really want. Give yourself the resilience to get there, but don't be so fixated and stuck that you lose the magic and the opportunity that you've got to grow. For Sagittarians who are looking at going on a spiritual retreat or starting meditation, looking for a spiritual teacher, this is very strong dice for it. Scorpio asks you to commit. It asks you to have the discipline and the emotional strength to hold the space here and see this through. And it does feel like you'll be questioning some of your own desires and motives. It could be something in your dreams has come up and spurred you forward. Some strange attraction has come back from the past and, nipped at your soul and woken you up. This is very much about taking the pressure off this month while maintaining a kind of a foothold and a core discipline that allows you to have both flexibility and protection at the same time. Capricorn, you also benefit from that planetary safety net made by Jupiter and Saturn this month. They're here to reward effort, your investments, your negotiations, and any restructures that are coming through. You've been in a bind between the head and the heart lately, so which way are you going to go? 10th house, Saturn, and Virgo. This is about your work. This is about wanting to be seen for all the responsibilities, all the hard effort you've put in. And really, you have reached a peak point. There's your ruler. There's the house that you rule. So we're bang on speaking to you. Why is Virgo there as well? If this is looking at that return for investment, you've got a Saturn flavour to it. Some of you might be feeling a bit disappointed in the return of the effort you've put in. Give it time. If it's been a long-term investment, one that you know that would build over time, this is very, very good for it. If you're wanting recognition for something you haven't put the work in for, this is a time it's going to come back and things are going to come home to roost. You need to have the detail of Virgo in a clear place to stay on and chip away, and you will get seen for and rewarded for the work. Definitely this looks like it restructure, or it looks like you being able to negotiate what your responsibilities actually are. You're comfortable in this place, Capricorn. It's natural for you to be up here in the 10th house with Saturn by your side, But we've got Virgo, and that means you need to pay attention to the detail. Go through the technicalities. Check the fine print. There's something in there that will accelerate your status and your position. Aquarius. You have Venus, Mars and Pluto in your sign this month. And it's posing a question. What do you really want? Not on the surface, but at the core. Love, attraction, motivation and finances are front and center, but you might have to let go of something to move forward. So what can the dice say? Scorpio, Neptune, 12th house. Aquarius, I think these are exactly the same dice that we got for Sagittarius. So if that's the case, maybe listen to Saggy as well. You're in the same boat. Literally, it's a boat. Neptune loves the 12th house. It lives there. It's its ruler. It's far and mystical. The boundaries are thin. The boundaries are blurry. You can get into your mystical, transcendental self to find the answers there. Not from your intellectual self. Not from your known experience. But really from what you don't know. There's an ancestral calling here. It's really sensitive. It's psychic. It may be a secret part of you. It might be a secret relationship. It might be a secret obsession or an addiction. But in March, you're ready to look at the deep stuff and see what you want to let go. You might need to go away from your daily life. Step out of daily life to do this. Strangely for you, it's the emotional depth that you're after. I know that frustrates a lot of you Aquarians. You want to be able to think it through. But in this case, it's your heart's desire that you need to listen to. It's your soul yearnings. You can't think your way through this one. It does feel like there's things bubbling up. Neptune and Scorpio are both deep sea, oceanic kind of energies, and that's where the 12th house also resides. So be looking at your dreams, be looking at your old journals, be looking at your old photographs and memories. Go back to places that touch your soul, that give you a sense of emotional connection. That's where you're going to find how to move forward. Pisces. Pisces, the new moon on the 10th is in your sign. So you're in cycle to set up some new dreams. But be ready for a surprise that pops up, wanting to be included in the plan. There's a call to action, but is it a distraction, a danger, or pure genius? What can the dice say? Oops. You have the 9th house, Jupiter, and Pisces. Very nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter rules the 9th house. We've got this lovely, flowy, optimistic, compassionate, sweet, romantic feel, and it's about expanding your borders, letting your dreams and imagination and your creativity go beyond a first step or a first stage, really launching it out into a public space or a cultural space, a social space. With that new moon in your sign, because we've got Uranus creating a bit of a disturbance, but at the same time supporting you, it looks to me like there's a new philosophy, a new level of learning, a new teacher or a mentor, something or someone with a protective overview that can really guide your direction and support your growth. So definitely be looking at March being a learning experience for you, and also a sharing, divulging, dispersing your wisdom to others type of a month. This combo is also really nice for travel, and it's travel of the mind, of the imagination, letting yourself really loose and seeing forward into a much broader, bigger picture. If you're looking at publishing or social media, this is a time you could really see your influence flow and spread. It's very positive. I like it a lot. I hope you've enjoyed your Astro Horoscopes for this month. Check in again next month. And if you're still getting to grips with what Pluto or Jupiter does or why Scorpio's in the 4th house, I've got a really neat little demo on my How to Read Astrology Dice video. I do keywords for planets, signs and houses. And if you want to go that next step and understand how to read an astrology chart, check my How to Birth Chart vid. I'm Meryl Key, and this is my mystery school. Find me on Instagram at my_mystery school or on my website www.merylkey.com. Thanks for watching.